That air coming into the house through a ventilation system, the key to that is that it's going through your HVAC system, which has that high performance air purification system with it, and then you've got the humidity control to make sure that that's helping it stay in that healthy area.
Welcome to the All Comfort Services Home Comfort Zone podcast. I'm your host, Theresa. I'm the marketing manager at All Comfort Services. Our podcast explores everything you need to know about your home's heating, cooling, indoor air quality, plumbing, and electrical systems. We share expert insights, practical tips, and engaging conversations with customers and businesses to provide solutions, ideas, and advice. Let's get started. Today, Lisa Reihl is here from AprilAire, and she's the Director of Brand Strategy there. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Theresa.
So tell me about what a brand strategist does at AprilAire.
Well, one of the most important things is to keep us on track with what we want people to know about the brand, whether it's interacting with people that work for the company, interacting on social media, and our mission is to make homes healthy. So making sure that we're consistent in everything we do, say how we look, so those things are all conveyed.
What would you like people to know about your brand?
I think the most important thing about AprilAire is understanding that there are opportunities within your house to make it a better environment to live in. So being able to understand what is working, what is not working, and identify what types of products to put in to make it a more healthy environment is really key.
So how long have you been at AprilAire?
I've been at AprilAire for 8 years now.
And what are some highlights that that you would say, bullet points about AprilAire that you've learned?
Sure. I think some of the most important things are just that history of how we've come to identify people that are qualifying for and interested into different healthy air solutions for their home. And the company was started back in the 30s with Research Products Corporation, and at that time a company called Lennox had started the first heating system that was actually a full system that was managed through different ducts within the home. So one system for that. But the fallout to that heating system was that people started to feel very dry. So their skin was dry, they were coughing, it was an uncomfortable environment even though the temperature was nice. So at that time, Research Products started all of this with a focus on AprilAire, and this was being able to humidify those homes. So adding humidity to make it more comfortable for people and more healthy to be in that home. So that all started in the 1950s, and since that time, AprilAire has added all of the different elements to make someone feel healthy in their home in reaction to how it's heated and cooled. So we have many things from cleaning the air to adding humidity to reducing humidity to adding fresh air and lots of other things in addition to that.
Tell me about the whole system. So you mentioned adding fresh air. How does the whole system work together?
Certainly. So when it's noted that fresh air is needed within the home, it's set up to bring fresh air in on a regular basis. When you think about a home that is sealed closed, and that's something that started in the 1980s where energy efficiency became the focus. So what they did was create a highly sealed home. So they kept in heat during the winter, they kept in cool air during the summer with the air conditioning running. But the problem was it also kept in lots of other things. An example would be CO2 from breathing. So you're breathing in oxygen, you're breathing out CO2. You're also seeing things related to vacuuming. It could be other things related to things within the air system, but also humidity. So in the summer you could have too much humidity in the home, or in the winter not enough and it's overly dry. So all of those things contribute to making the home the perfect place to add on different features that can help make it not just more comfortable, but actually healthier for your body as well.
So homes actually are the most toxic areas, right? The home air.
Exactly. So what they found through many studies, it's been reinforced that a home's air can be up to 5 times more polluted than the air outside of the home. So that's where you can set up a higher grade air purification system. And again, this is a system that is attached to your HVAC system. So it's not something that is room by room. It goes throughout the entire house. So you're exposed to air that has been purified rather than air that might be circulating allergens. So that's a good example of when that really makes sense to have a whole home system. And that can be, again, purifying that air. It can be adding humidity during the winter in a place like Wisconsin where it can get incredibly dry, or in the summertime where it also gets very humid here as well. Being in between those, right in that sweet spot in the middle, is much healthier for people. So that's a good example as well.
And AprilAire is located in Madison. Tell me about the locations.
Yeah, absolutely. So it started with research products in the 1930s, and they introduced in 1954 the AprilAire humidifier when they're located right on East Wash, downtown Madison. And in addition to that, there's manufacturing in the Madison area. We have a manufacturing facility that's much larger in Poynette. And we've introduced an innovation center a couple years ago in the Sun Prairie area. And then just recently, a couple months ago, we launched a new center for logistics. We launched that right in the town of Westport. Okay. So we've really grown in the Madison area since things started in 1954 with the launch of that first humidifier.
And your area is North America or in Canada?
Oh, good questions. We focus on Canada and the U.S. market primarily. We do have some markets outside that we dabble in, but that's really where our focus is North America.
What are some things that people want to know about indoor quality, some research things, if you've done some studies, some feedback studies?
Sure. One of the things that people are really interested in is how does the air affect them? They oftentimes make the assumption that the air inside their home is clean and fresh and healthy. And that assumption comes from feeling safe and protected in their home, so they apply that to the air they're breathing as well. Once you start putting in some equipment to monitor air quality, you find out that it can be up to 5 times more polluted than the air outside. So it's really important to be able to understand those things. And that's where you can contact a professional that can come into your home and monitor all of that and help you determine what would be helpful to your house to create a healthy air environment.
What are some things that you've noticed in your building that you've been doing? Anything, have you been implementing some of these products in your building for commercial use?
We really don't get into commercial use so much. We have other companies owned by Research Products that focus on the commercial business. But of course, we do lots of product testing. We have thermostats are a good example of something that we use within our own commercial locations to control temperature. That's a good example.
So your focus at AprilAire is residential customers, and what are some things that homeowners should ask when they meet with an HVAC contractor to know more about your products?
Sure, that's a really good question. I think number one is inviting that contractor in to look at more than just the heating and cooling equipment and talking about any specific needs the family may have. They may have someone in their home who has some asthma concerns or other health issues. So those are things that are helpful to the technicians to understand. But also the main product that I would say every single homeowner should certainly consider is a high performance air filtration system. So by purifying the air with a high performance filter, you're going to get better performance. All that air that moves through your whole home system is going to constantly be filtered. So it's certainly a much healthier environment to live in. And we offer the highest rated air filtration system that you can purchase, and that level is called MERV 16. And that's really wonderful, especially for people who have asthma to deal with. They may be dealing with other health issues, and it's very good at removing those things from the air to make it a more comfortable, healthier environment. The second best filter would be our MERV 13, so slightly less filtration effectiveness, but that one also has carbon. And that carbon actually is great at absorbing odors. So that's very popular with our pet owners especially.
And how can people get your products?
Oh, sure. All Comfort is a fantastic example of that. So our products are sold and installed by professionals, and so they can come into your home, they can assess the situation. They have many tools for understanding not only heating and cooling, but how the other parts relate. So an example I just went over was the air purification. So filtering the air to remove things that are moving in the air. Another thing that is, I would say the second most important is controlling humidity. There's a sweet spot for your health with humidity, and it's right in that mid-range. So something that is between 40% and 60% relative humidity, that's the healthy zone. So if it's winter, you might need a humidifier to add humidity, and we have many whole home units that can attach right to your furnace system so that humidity is moved throughout your home automatically as your home is heated. In the summer months, when you have your air conditioning running, we have dehumidifiers that are designed to be ducted right into your home system as well. So you have that cooled air, but also dehumidified air, again, to stay in that healthy zone. And then this is something that a lot of people don't know about, and I certainly didn't understand this one before I came to AprilAire, but the need for ventilation, fresh air ventilation. As I mentioned earlier, oftentimes the air outside of your home is cleaner than the air inside of your home. So if you can bring that air in through a ventilation system, it creates a much healthier environment for you and your family. And there are a number of different ways you can set up a ventilation system so that that's coming in. Without a ventilation system in Wisconsin, you either have to open the doors or open the windows, or you turn on a bath fan or a hood range for a stovetop, and those pull out some air and it just gets replaced by air that seeps inside. But to do it right, and to be able to do that in the heat of summer or the cold of winter, a ventilation product is the way to go.
Right, because as you mentioned, in the 80s, homes were built much more tight. So now you have VOCs, all these different things emitting in the air. And instead of just opening the window and shutting the window, which is not a consistent solution, if you have your HVAC company build the unit to bring in the fresh air, and then the devices that AprilAire has to have it go and be conditioned in the system, the HVAC system, then the home can have the fresh air continually running.
One of the most interesting things that I think we experienced here in Wisconsin that we hadn't experienced prior to that was a few years ago when there were pretty significant wildfires in the Canadian area that pushed down through Wisconsin. And people in Wisconsin aren't used to being in a wildfire area like, say, people in the California area. So that air coming into the house through a ventilation system, the key to that is that it's going through your HVAC system, which has that high performance air purification system with it. And then you've got the humidity control to make sure that that's helping it stay in that healthy area. So by pulling in air from the outside, if you temporarily have some type of a pollution issue, you're still going to be able to take care of that air and purify it before it moves throughout your whole house. Now, if you don't have a ventilation system, let's say you have a bath fan in one room in your house, you're just pulling air from that area and it's pulling from the rest of your house. And in a situation, as an example, that wildfire, which will probably not be the last one we experience, you're only helping the air right there and not the air throughout your whole house. And being able to put everything through that purification system has a big impact on the health of that air in your home.
That's great. I don't think people are considering or thinking about the external air and how this indoor system can actually help the indoor air.
Absolutely.
Thank you for taking the time to be on our show today.
Thank you very much for having me, Theresa.